Sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos, and we're all live. We got G Money here with PB live up here in the Boston market. We're having some margaritas, we're having some beers, and we're going to talk a little college football, gentlemen. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I got some Lord Hobo 617.
I got my pumpkin beer because it's that time of the year.
And Mr. PB introduced me to Lagunitas. Did I say that correctly? Thank you. A few years ago. We got the lovely Valeska behind the scenes running this crew. All right, guys, a lot of crazy stuff. We're going to talk college football. Let's talk about three big stories going into this season. For you, G Money, what's three big stories for you?
Honestly, this is going to be lame, but I am really excited about the fact that they got rid of divisions in all the major conferences. So you don't have the East, you don't have the West. It's all just 20 teams battling it out. So I love that. I mean, the two best teams can make it to the conference championships. They don't have to worry about what, are they in the East, are they in the West. So that is what I'm the most excited about because it makes it more even playing field.
I'm with you on that. What do you got?
I think it's interesting that I don't know what teams are in what division now. There's just been so much movement, right?
Yep.
And I think all these rivalries that we used to be very used to are going away. And there could be new rivalries established because of teams moving from all the way out west in the Pac-10, 12, whatever, into like Big Ten conference or SEC conference. Just shakes everything up. So I just think that the difference of the landscape of the whole divisions, which kind of...
I think it invigorates college football. It makes it more fun. I mean, it's like exciting.
Can be. To me, it's the 24 new coaches. And some of these new coaches are because some coaches like Nick Saban, who's no longer here at Alabama because of... He doesn't want to deal with NIL, and he doesn't want to deal with the transfer portal. Then you have guys like Chip Kelly, who stayed coaching, but he quit being a head coach just because he couldn't deal with the headache of that. Now he's the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, right?
He took a pay cut, too.
Took a pay cut. So you got a lot of changes.
Yeah, and can we talk about the 12 teams that make the playoffs now?
Freaking awesome.
That's got to be the biggest of all, right?
Huge.
12 teams making the playoffs.
Everyone has a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, do you guys think that the 12 playoff games will make the conference championships irrelevant or still very important?
I think they make them very important because the winner of the top four conferences get a bye. So that bye matters, especially in college football after a long season. You don't want to pay that extra game. So I think it matters still, but I think you also have hope in the sense that if you lose, you can still make it.
Okay. By the way, PBU asked, so here we go. In the Big Ten, you no longer have a Pac-12 because USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington are all playing in the Big Ten.
Isn't it like a Big 20 now?
By the way, it's a Big 16. Oh, 16. By the way, Washington is going to have a road game against Maryland, I believe, this year. Imagine that. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Crazy.
The SEC is up to 16 schools because they added from the Big 12. Texas and Oklahoma are now in the SEC, and of course the ACC got four other teams, and I don't know if I made no. Oh yeah, I did. It's Cal, Stanford, SMU, and one other team which I didn't write down.
Less impactful.
All those schools right on the Atlantic coast.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Can you believe it? I mean, unbelievable. All right, so let's go. Let's talk about the conference. Who do you think? Let's start with that ACC. By the way. Big addition to the ACC, none other than Boston College. Bill O'Brien, head coach now of Boston College, which I'm very much in favor. He's a local guy. I'm glad to see that. What do you think in the ACC? Who comes out of the ACC?
Oh, man. Well, Clemson is right now starting today against Georgia, who's one of the top-ranked teams in the country, and they're kind of holding their own. I mean, they're not playing as well as they'd like, but they're holding their own.
Right.
And Clemson seems to be that kind of ACC team to beat. So I'd have to say they have a good shot. Of course, I'm going to go with my Miami Hurricanes on that one.
But by the way, the team that was the favorite, they were the number 10 team going into last weekend. They went to Dublin, Ireland. They played Georgia Tech, and they got their butts kicked. Well, not literally,
but they lost.
But they still lost.
They were favored by 13.
13-point favorites, Florida State. G Money, having said that, are they out? After that loss?
Yeah, they're out. And they
So
would.
one
If you
and
asked
done.
me this, if you asked me a week ago, I would have said FSU is going to win that division, the ACC. But they're out, in my opinion. I have to go with Pete. Well, PB said Clemson, and then he said Miami. But I'm going to go with Clemson. I think Clemson, even when they're going to lose to Georgia, almost inevitably. But I think they're going to win out, and they're going to make the playoffs.
Let me ask you a question though. Can't Florida State plays both Miami and Clemson this year? So could they not redeem themselves?
Yeah, I mean,
It
if you're a
could.
one-loss team,
Yeah.
you're probably getting. If you're a one-loss ACC team, you're probably getting in the
But if
playoffs,
everything's
right?
equal, their loss against Georgia Tech is going to sting more than Clemson's loss against Georgia, who's a top 14.
Agreed.
By the way, I got Miami too. The U is back.
The U is back.
Miami wins the ACC this year.
All
disagree
right,
on that.
so right there. All right,
man.
we're kind of
All
in agreement.
Let's go a little north of that. Let's go to the Big Ten, where I just said they got UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon. Oregon, I'm going to mention very emphatically. Who do you like in the Big Ten right now, G Money?
I'm biased because I've been an Ohio State fan for the longest time. I do think they have the best defense in the country. I think they have a lot of weapons on offense too. The QB is the biggest question mark. If that QB, Will Howard, does well, then Ohio State wins that division hands down. But I'm going Ohio State, but that's more my heart. I could see Oregon winning it as well, but Ohio State's my pick.
By the way, Will Howard, we didn't mention this. The other big storyline was the transfer portal, right? All these transfers. Will Howard came from K-State, a transfer, right? So there you go.
And he's a winner. I mean, they've won 10 games a year since he was there.
What do you think, PB?
I like Oregon. I think Dylan Gabriel's probably the best quarterback in the Big Ten.
A former OU quarterback.
I think he's probably the best quarterback in the Big Ten, right? The Big Ten's not loaded with quarterbacks.
No.
And I think that's going to make the difference because he's going to emerge as a clear top quarterback. So that's why I'm liking Oregon. Fall right in the footsteps of Bo Nix and, take that team right into the playoffs. So, going Oregon.
And I could see that happening, but Ohio State's my pick.
By the way, in a minute we'll mention a couple of big games and we can talk about those. And one of them on October 12th, I believe, is Oregon-Ohio State. All right, let's go to my favorite conference no longer because my team left, the Big 12. Who wins that now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone?
I like this team a lot. I think they're a solid team when their QB's not hurt, and I think he's healthy finally. Utah. They got a great coach.
Yes, I agree with you on that. I got Utah as well.
Nice.
Yeah. And you got Cameron Rising there, who could be a
That's
little
the guy I was talking
sleeper.
about, yeah.
He could be a little sleeper Heisman. He might be in the room.
Yeah,
He's like
he
a
might-
6-year senior, right?
Yeah.
He might be in the room.
Yeah, he is
So-
6 years at Utah,
Yeah,
correct?
so I'm going to say Utah as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
in their first year, right? Going to the Big 12, right?
Solid team. Good coach.
By the way, OK State might be there. K-State, some traditional
got some good
US Big 12 teams. But all right, let's go last for the Power 4. Let's go the SEC. Is it going to be the normal in the SEC again, G-Money?
No, I'm going with I want to call it a dark horse because they're top 10 team per rankings, but I think Ole Miss has the horses to win the division. I think Alabama's going to have a down year. I don't think they're going to be good. I think it's Ole Miss wins the division barely over Georgia.
So Jackson's Dart, the quarterback, and
He's a
Ole
stud.
Miss
He's
is
a
going
stud.
to lead
Oh,
them
yeah.
to the SEC title.
If you look at the players they added through the transfer portal, their defense is loaded. They have playmakers on offense. They're a solid team.
PB?
I'm going to go with my Heisman winning prediction this year, which is Carson Beck in Georgia, and I think they're the clear best team in the SEC. Although I agree with G-Money on Bama having a little bit of a down year. They might squeak into the 12-team playoff, but that's the best I see out of them. The team that I'm not sure, Texas is in the SEC now, right? Didn't they move to the SEC?
Yes.
So with Texas in the
they're
SEC,
number 4 in the country going into the season.
with Texas into the SEC and Quinn Ewers, I think Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck, to me, the two leading quarterbacks going into that Heisman room. And I got those two teams right now clear and above the rest. So I'm going to go Georgia or Texas for the SEC. They'll probably play in the
I'm
SEC.
surprised you didn't pick Georgia. Ohio State and Georgia are usually your team.
Yeah,
Georgia's got 17
I
returning
agree.
starters.
I just
17
think-
returning starters.
You can only be so good for so long. Patriots are not Patriots are the exception to the rule. You can only be that good so long. I think Georgia will have a good year, but not as good as we're used to. They'll lose like 2 games probably.
I'm with you, PB. I think Carson Beck settles them down. He's the starting quarterback. He's solid. By the way, I heard Saban today on the game day. Georgia all the way until they lose. He's going with Georgia. I got to go with Georgia. If Saban picks Georgia, I'm picking with him. All right, let's go outside. Who do you guys got for some dark horses that might be able to come in from outside of the Power 4?
So we're not talking about dark horses in the Power 4. We're talking about like the secondary
just in general,
divisions. Yeah.
before we get to
Okay, yeah.
12.
Boise State is my pick to win and get in the playoffs from a non-Power 4.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that as well. I'm going Boise State.
I got two others for you. I'm with you on Boise. How about Liberty and UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio?
Well, probably Liberty is, if I remember correctly, they have the weakest schedule in the league. So even if they go undefeated, if anyone else is undefeated, they're out.
But everybody else loses a game or two.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, they're good.
Right? And they were a good team last year and the year before.
UTSA is a good choice. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
they're a
UTSA.
solid team.
All right. Let's talk about the 12 then. Who do you guys got for the 12?
Well, I obviously gave my 4, Clemson, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Utah.
Yep.
And then Boise State's my 5th. I also have Missouri, Georgia, Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon, Arizona, and Oklahoma. Those are my 12. Arizona's a strong. They're going to be a good team this year.
Where did Arizona go? They Big 10 or Big 12? I forget.
I think they're Big 10.
Big 10 as well, right? Okay.
So I basically got 3 Big 10, 3 Big 12, and then a mixture of that, of every other thing.
Was Michigan in there?
No, I didn't go Michigan. I think they're gonna have a bad year.
Michigan.
No
Defending champion.
I don't think they're gonna be good this year. They lost their coach and they lost some playmakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they got some tough games too. They got to play Texas. They got to play Oregon.
Ohio
They got to play at Ohio State. They got to play USC.
Yep.
I could see them losing 3 or 4 games and missing it too. I like that. I might leave them out too. I was still on the fence about Michigan.
Give me 12, and then we'll go back and talk about a couple of the
All right,
games.
well, I'm going to go. I'm Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas out of the gate there. I think Bama squeaks in. I don't think they're going to do much this year, but I think they can squeak in. Ole Miss, I think, is there. Notre Dame, Penn State, for sure. I do like that Mizzou pick.
Yeah, I think because they got an easy schedule, but they're in the SEC, so if they're undefeated, they'll get in.
I'm going to go Mizzou. I'll go Utah. I'm going to go Miami. Going to go the U.
Well, you had to win the conference.
Well, right. So that gives me, how many more do I have to pick?
I think it's 12. Last count.
I'll go OU. I know you love OU, so I'm going to throw OU in there too.
You know what? So I got the 4 conference: Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, and Utah, followed by the second best team in the Big 10, Oregon, by a little bit. Bama, I still believe Jalen Milroe is going to be probably, we'll talk about this in a minute, my Heisman pick. I got Notre Dame, provided they don't lose tonight.
They could still be fine if they lose tonight, I think.
Penn State, I don't know why, but I get Penn State just because their defense is rock solid. K-State in a weak Big 12, right?
Okay.
Like that
Boise
pick.
State is the 5th conference winner.
I agree. Yep.
They'll be in because of that. I got Michigan sliding in. Believe it or not, I'm not as high. Everybody loves Texas. I think they just get in.
I don't think Texas is good. I don't have them in there.
I got them just getting in. I just got them in. Let's talk about a few games. I got to ask you about some games, right?
So you didn't have Ole Miss in yours, did you?
No. And
Really?
nor Oklahoma, believe it or not.
Wow.
All right, so I made note of some really good. Obviously, this weekend, you've got obviously Georgia Clemson is probably almost over right now when we do this show, right? Miami, Florida plays at 3:30. We're going to pick this game momentarily, correct?
Yeah.
You've got Utah, Oklahoma State coming up on 9/28, which might be the conference championship de facto game, right? Oregon plays Michigan the same weekend. 10-5, you got Clemson, FSU, which might be the last chance for FSU, right?
Oh, yeah. They lose that, they're done.
That's a big game.
Yep.
How about this one? On 9/7, I'm going back a second. Texas at Michigan.
Big game.
Could that be an elimination game this early? That's next weekend.
No, because both those teams
they
are
have
so
a chance.
powerful.
Right.
And they're all
They could get in with 3 losses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those 2 teams could get in with 3 losses.
Point. All right. I mentioned this earlier. This one is the de facto Big Ten championship. Now they don't have a Big Ten championship game, right? Oh, they don't have divisions. They don't have a championship game, right? Oregon goes to, Ohio State goes to Oregon.
When's that game?
10-12.
I'm not missing that. That's going to be incredible.
By the way, that same day, Red River Rivalry takes place.
It's a good weekend.
Oklahoma and Texas. And besides that, you've got Penn State, USC.
Jeez.
All on 10-12.
That's
good day.
A big college football day, right?
The one good thing about all this is, I go through this, guys, the one thing about this realignment, there's no longer any dud weekends. I mean, 10-19, you've got Georgia, Texas.
That's big.
10-26, and Miami, Michigan plays Ohio State. Then you got, no, that's the end of the season, I'm sorry. Then you got FSU, Miami on 10-26. Oh, going back to 10-19, I knew what this was on. Bama plays Tennessee.
Big game. They always play well.
Right? Tennessee.
Yep. Tennessee beat them a few
2 years ago
Yeah.
at Tennessee, right? 11-9, FSU, Notre Dame.
It's always big.
Huge, right? Because Notre Dame, without having a divisional alignment,
They can't lose more than one. They lose 2 games, they're done.
if they lose to A&M and they lose this game to FSU,
They're
they're
done.
out, right?
They're out. Yep.
Yep.
They can lose
there
one
we
game.
go. You got Ole Miss, G-Money, 11-9, another game on 11-9. They play Georgia.
Huge game. Are they home or away? I can't
It's
remember.
at Ole Miss.
It's at Ole Miss. That's a big game.
And then the former Big 12 rival, another team you happen to like, Mizzou host Oklahoma on 11-9.
I think that's their only tough game they have. So if they win that, they're in.
That could be an elimination game right
Yeah.
there.
If they lose that, they're done. Because
Either one of
The
those two
loser of
teams.
that game won't make the playoffs,
Right.
and the winner probably will.
Yeah.
All right.
As a lower seed.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys.
All right.
All right, give us your Heisman pick. Who do you guys get for your Heisman picks?
All right, I'll go first.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I said earlier, I got Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers as my front leaders. And then I'm looking at Cameron Rising as that sleeper that could sneak into the conversation. So I'm going to put those, that would be my top 3.
Okay.
Would be right there. I know they put, 5 people in the room, I think, right?
Yep.
But those are my 3 that I'm expecting to be there on
So,
Heisman Day.
my winner is Dylan Gabriel. I think they're not going to win the division, but they're going to not lose because of him. They're going to be his offensive numbers will be off the chart. Ohio State's going to win because of defense, so Will Howard won't be in the mix. So I think Dylan Gabriel wins. I think Jackson Dart's in the room, and I think Carson Beck's in the room.
Okay.
Ooh, we're pretty close.
Nobody has mentioned your guy yet.
I got him second, though.
Milrow, you got right?
I got Jalen Milroe second. I agree. Dylan Gabriel,
Yeah.
too much experience.
Too much
He wins it
offense.
With a great team.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe from Alabama is second. Jackson Dart, I have third.
Oh, wow. Okay,
And
pretty
I
close.
got Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers tied for fourth.
Okay,
Okay.
and those are my
Yeah.
top 2. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
yeah.
Quinn's going to be in it.
But I have Gabe just to round out my 5. I
Yeah.
put Gabriel Milrow
Yeah.
Okay.
as my 4 and 5. But all right,
All right. Who do you got to win it all? Give me the title game.
I have Oregon versus Ohio State. I have a rematch, and I have Ohio State winning.
Wow.
2 best teams in the
Where's my
country.
whistle? This is a personal foul.
2 best teams in the country, in my opinion.
What do you got, PB?
I'm going to Oregon, Georgia, and I'll take. I'm gonna take Georgia. Georgia over Oregon.
Sounds like it's a tough one, though.
My heart is with your pick. My head says, as much as I hate these 2 friggin' programs, it's Georgia, Ohio State, and I think Georgia wins it all. Too many returning starters.
All right,
So we have some similarities.
We
You got
both have
Ohio
Georgia
State.
winning.
Yeah.
You have Ohio State, like I have them. All right, so
Yeah.
we're somewhat.
All right.
All right, that's our season. Let's talk about our foreplay, because we love foreplay, Velasco, right?
We do.
We got tonight Notre Dame at Texas A&M. A&M's a 3-point favorite. Who do you like, G?
I got A&M winning that game. It's the hardest stadium to play in as far as the home win-loss record. A&M has the best home win-loss record in the country. It's the hardest stadium. They rank it as the hardest stadium to play in the country. I think they win.
It is a hot stadium. I agree. PB.
I'm going to go Notre Dame, but I think A&M could win the game by like a last-minute field goal or something, just to win by 1 or 2 points, or maybe even 3 points, because they're getting 3
So
and a half,
Notre Dame
right?
covers, but A&M wins by 1.
Well, no, I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame wins the game, but I'm just taking Notre Dame. I wouldn't be surprised if they hang in there enough to just lose by 1 or 2 points.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm with you. I got Notre Dame.
You know what?
I think this is Notre Dame's year. Hopefully. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but I love Freeman, the coach. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
All right. USC LSU. I believe this game is in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. LSU's a 4.5-point favorite. They're replacing the defending Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels. USC's replacing the previous year's Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, the #1 draft pick in the NFL. What do you think here, G?
I think LSU. I'm not impressed with USC. I mean, I think the only reason they were half decent was because of the QB, and I don't think they adequately replaced them. So I think LSU wins by 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think on the neutral field, if that was it at USC, I might be tempted to take those points, but because it's neutral field, I'm going to go with LSU as well.
Ooh. I'm going, I believe, even though it's a neutral field, I believe the USC is considered the road team, so I'm taking USC to cover.
Oh, yeah?
LSU will win.
Right.
USC covers.
Lose by 3.
All right.
4.5.
Oh, well, I mean, most likely,
right,
right? You
right,
can't lose.
Down in Florida, this spread has moved a little bit. It was 3. It's now 2.5. Miami is the favorite going into
The Swamp.
Swamp down in, what is that, Gainesville, right?
Gainesville, Florida.
Gainesville, right? All right, what do you like there, G Money?
This is the Vegas trap game of the week. So Miami is the pundits, majority of the pundits pick to go to the playoffs. So a lot of people have them as one of the 12 teams. They're on paper the better team, but they're only favored by 2.5. And Florida's home field is not that great. So this is a trap game, and because of that, I'm taking Florida plus 2.5. I think Florida actually wins that game, and Miami starts off on the wrong foot. I hate to say it. I know you're a Miami fan.
Yeah, I'm going the U on this one. I think Miami.
Is that how they do it, Velasquez?
Yeah,
Right.
Florida's not the same. I mean, Cameron Ward, all right, good quarterback. I think they got a great team going in there. We're talking about Miami winning the ACC. We're talking about Miami potentially being in that top 12, making the playoffs, right?
Yep.
If that whole conversation starts to become very suspect if they lose tonight.
But now, as a Miami fan, aren't you curious why the spread's what it is? Doesn't that bring up red flags in your eyes? Like Vegas knows something we don't know?
No, because I despite
it's a home game for Florida.
It's a home game.
It's not that their home
I know,
field's not that
but
great.
it's the aura of the swamp. It's that
I
whole.
know. I think the swamp is a tough place to play. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought they'd be favored by
Standard
7.
chomp
I thought Miami would be favored by 7. So
I'm going to you. I'm going with Miami.
I'm with you as well.
Okay.
I get the
You
U.
go, man? All right.
All right, we're going to stay in the home state of Florida for PB. We got Florida State, who lost a big game last week in Dublin, Ireland, as a 10.5 point. 13, you said.
13. I think it finished at 13.
They host my BC Eagles, my other favorite team, with Thomas Castellanos, who I think is an outside. I didn't mention it. He's an outside shot at the Heisman Trophy if they can win 8 games. I don't think they do, but if he can, he's the guy. I got one little stat for you. This is game 1 of the year for BC. It's game 2 for Florida State. Here's a stat. Over the last 5 seasons, the team playing game 1 versus game 2, game 1 team has covered the spread 67% of the time.
Wow. It's almost 7 out of 10.
The spread is 16.5. What do you like?
I think FSU wins, but BC covers. They lose by maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go same thing. I think FSU wins the game. I think BC covers. I could see them losing by 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. But, yeah.
I'm with you. All right. BC covers. I wouldn't be surprised they make it a close game. We are good. Thank you very much, fans.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
The red button.
So